I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the former Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, who met and talked with Prince Philip on a number of occasions. Mr. Rudd, it's good to have you with us here on BBC News. Thank you for sparing us some time. I know you met the Duke several times. What are your recollections?
I think, like most Australians, we respond well to authenticity, spontaneity, informality, sense of humour, and also in the Duke's case, just a profound history of courage. So I think what Australians saw in the Duke, whether we're Republicans or whether we're monarchists, is just the genuine article. So he actually has had quite a profound impact on sentiment in this country, certainly throughout my life and my parents' lives as well.
There's a lot of history here to unpick. Queen Elizabeth was the first reigning monarch to set foot on Australian soil. Of course, she should have come 2 years earlier, but that was, of course, the year that her father died. There will be some Australians alive who stood in line for that visit, I imagine, who are reflecting on the Duke's passing today. What do you know of that visit and how the relationship evolved from that point?
Well, certainly before my time, I think you're talking about the royal visit of 1954, where the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were in this country, I think for more than a month. I grew up in a town in rural Queensland where everyone would go to the nearest regional centre to catch a glimpse. And certainly my aunt would have her own home movies of this blur of the Queen and the Duke speeding by. But again, I go back to the qualities of the man. Australians place a lot of priority on a man's courage and have a very deep sense and personal sense of the history of the last World War. And for the Duke to have joined up the Royal Navy at the age of 18 in 1939, the ships he served on shepherded Australian troop convoys across the Indian Ocean, including my own father, to the campaign in Egypt, active with the Royal Australian Navy and the Royal Navy in multiple campaigns in the Mediterranean, which were bloody and dangerous. I think this actually has a big impact when Australians look at the Duke's life. Quite apart from, as I said, his often wicked sense of humour when you dealt with him personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, he came back to Australia on a solo tour in 1956. He was there to open the Olympic Games in Melbourne. And I think that had a particularly important impact on his life because he was emerging from the Queen's shadow at that point. Have you reflected on that today and what Australia meant to the Duke?
Well, I think the Duke had a particular view of the Commonwealth at large. So there are more than 50 member states of the Commonwealth. He had a deep affection for the entire Commonwealth family. In Oz, I think there was a particular resonance. After all, Prince Charles came here to school at Timbertop for a bit. 56 Olympics, again before my time. But the bottom line is, I remember talking to Prince Philip about that visit and the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, and which, as you know, extended across so many Commonwealth and non-Commonwealth countries worldwide since. And he said, yeah, he got the inspiration for that award scheme during his visit to Melbourne 56 Olympics. And again, as a kid growing up in a rural high school in Queensland in Australia in the 70s, the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme was a big deal. It affected kids across so many walks of life. So I think that legacy will live on as well.
I noticed on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald today, they talk about the reaction of the children, of William and Harry. Do you think the Duke of Edinburgh transcends generations, or are they more in touch now with the younger members of the family?
Well, look, Australians will have a range of views on these questions. I can't generalise on behalf of our country of 26 million people, but what do they see when they see the Duke of Edinburgh and Her Majesty the Queen? As I said, whether we're Republicans or monarchists, we see as this profound sense of duty, and that is transgenerational. And certainly with younger Australians, yes, there's obviously a greater sense of identity with people more your own age. But I think, again, going back to how Australians view the Brits, how they view the royal family, it does come back to the nature of the individuals concerned. And I think the overall view in this country is with Prince Philip, that you were encountering the genuine article. Often his spontaneity and sense of humour, as you know, would land him in all sorts of controversy. Well, that kind of goes with the territory. But his ability to engage anybody where they were in life, be genuinely interested in their lives and share a joke, and often an outrageous joke, was actually what is passed on across the generations in this country in the family conversations about his life.
Kevin Rudd, it's very good to hear your thoughts. Thank you for being with us.
Good to be with you.